Get ready to rock out with your talk out. It's the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. All right, everybody. Drop your cocks and slap on a sock because the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus is alive and well.
Bye.
For another week, we're still here.
Yes, sir.
We're coming at you live on Rock Rage
that.
Radio. So those of you that are listening on Rock Rage, we also do this whole thing live on Monday, Tuesday evenings. Tuesday. What's her name? Mary Spender. Is that her name? She says Tuesday. We do this live. We do this live on Rock Rage Radio Live or Rock Rage Live. What is the actual web nomenclature? Is it Rock Rage Radio Live or Rock Rage Live?
Oh, that's a good question. That's
I'm
something
not sure.
we'll have to.
Anyways, they have their own. Rock Rage Radio has several different Facebook groups and stuff. It's Rock Rage Live. It's called Rock Rage Live, and it's we do it every Tuesday from 9 p.m. to like about 10:30. Well, it looks like we're going to be going to 11.
Oh my!
Because they're giving us 2 hours on the radio, so I want to make sure we take advantage of that. But we do it live, and people come and hang out sometimes. So I'm going to get more diligent about the invites and stuff like that. I think that would probably help. I forget to do. I don't know why.
Why do you forget to invite?
It's not that. What happens is I
too.
feel like, I shouldn't do that until like right before. But no, you should do like at the beginning of the week or the end of the week, so everybody by Monday or Tuesday has an idea of what the hell's going on, and not just going like, oh shit, I saw you were live, but I didn't know what was going on.
Hi, Jody. Jody is watching. Our good friend.
So real quick,
Hi, Jody.
it is okay. We got to do this stuff. Okay, so it's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Go Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
You could do it.
.com.
What?
LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com for getting all your Loudini needs. You want to get screwed?
What? Hey.
You want to get blued and you want to get tattooed, don't you?
Wow, sir.
Well, this is where it all happens. At LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com.
That's where it all happens.
.com. Music from the 412. I want to welcome. We are now an affiliate on there. We are an affiliate with them. We are part of their family as well, and we will be letting you guys know when you can hear us on there. While we will not interfere with our good friends at Rock Rage Radio, go to rockrageradio.com and stream great music content.
How much does it cost?
It's about $479 a minute.
A minute. Oh.
It's worth every penny. It's totally free. Free for freaks, and we're all freaks, so you just join right the fuck in. There is an app, if I've been told, but I'm telling you.
I had trouble finding it on my Android now, so maybe it's not available.
But if you just go to rockrageradio.com and hit the play button, you'll listen to. I'm telling you, it's all good. It's super fun. It's a really John does a great job with this. I mean, I really have to commend the effort that they put in. They've really marketed it and built it up. So congratulations, guys! You did a great. We enjoy being a part of that. So, anyways, so that's all the go check this stuff. Oh, RSB is a band out of Sacramento.
Oh, all right. See, the more you learn.
Robinson Simpson Band.
Oh,
a
okay.
hard rockin' original band out of Sacramento. See, RSB, when I hovered over your thing, cool. It's like magic. Facebook told me.
Yeah. No.
And there's the rsb.net.
Well, there you go then.
Do you mind? I'm going to click on it. Hopefully it does. Okay. and ends the live.
And everything dies. Oh, there they are.
Okay, they seem like
we're
nice
looking
young
at you
men.
now.
They seem like
RSB,
nice young church-going.
Sure. Folk. I don't. Well, maybe. I don't know.
RSB's latest video of Fight by
Mama
Maiden Studio.
Mama is a hard word, Lou. I understand.
So, it's not the words; it's the seeing. I can't see that.
Oh, okay.
It's like very blurry. I hear some bass guitar. Ever meet a girlie that Okay, these guys are selling that on their website, so I don't want to give it away
No.
The RSB, Robin Simpson Band, go to the rsb.net if you like that little snippet, and you can get the whole thing. It looks like these guys have a lot of cool stuff going on.
Yeah, very cool, guys. Thank you so much.
Badasses, too, so good job, man.
Don't mess with them, Lou.
Good job.
Don't mess with them.
So go check those guys out. All right, let's get into what's going on, Mr. Pittsburgh. So, Mr. Pittsburgh,
hey,
we've been sitting here for the past 20 minutes or half an hour, and what did you do this week other than get into an argument with your ex-wife?
Look here, there was no argument. I just figured I can still manipulate her. Not that way, folks. Simmer down. But
Hey,
wait,
baby.
Hold on. I want to take a second here. Now, we've discussed this in the past, you and I. We're in our 50s. Get off my lawn. And we've discussed that, like, our lives are pretty good, right? We've talked about this.
Our lives,
yeah. Our lives are pretty good. And I just want to take this moment to say just how good my life is. My life is that I live next door to my best friend in the whole wide world. And I would take this moment. I love this guy.
His name is Jesus.
Once a week, I get to hang out with this guy and all this craziness. And I just want to thank Loudini for having me on. Hey, Loudini, you didn't know me. I'm thankful.
Well, we're going to be coming to YouTube with some some guitar content. We're going to start.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm working. I'm building a lessons channel. And I think that I don't think I can do this without doing gear.
Dude, I just had a thought. You should have like, I'm Pittsburgh Kevin. I'm totally stupid. An act. And you can show me things.
Well, dude, I think we should totally do that. Like, that was actually one of the things I wanted to
Is it really? Put the hat on sideways.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Loudini. Yeah.
I think that we could. I think we could do some fun stuff. Like all the lessons channels. Like nobody's like. There's not enough guys having fun with it. Like I like to do something a little bit different. So that's a great idea. But I do want to do. And we can do the same thing with gear. But I think that like some of the biggest. The channels that have like the biggest following stuff are the ones that do gear. I don't know if you know who Robert Baker is. He's a Nashville guy. He's got real long, like dirty brown hair, and he says that he would prefer to teach, but it's the gear videos that get sell, that get all the views.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I love gear. And Kevin and I, Mr. Pittsburgh and I, are big gear heads when it comes to the music stuff. So this might be an excuse. Could you imagine we get a channel going and people start sending us fucking gear? I mean, don't you think that... I have to be very honest with you. When I see guys like... that guy from Erie, that Kyle Bull... When I hear like, oh, they just sent me this to review, and this guy, I'm like, they're just sending me shit. Like, I'm like, that just sounds like heaven.
That's what I want to happen.
So, anyway, so that's kind of all coming. That's being worked on right now. I could get into what we're doing and how we're setting it up, but I will save that because it's a little technical stuff I don't want to do. Anyways, so what did you get up to this week?
Look, I think I'm done buying DVDs from Amazon. I had that problem with the Rolling Stones DVD. And in the ad, it didn't say it wasn't compatible with this region. Ended up having to send it back. And I've been on like an old movie kick, like from the 60s and 70s. And I got Kelly's Heroes with the late, great Donald Sutherland in it.
Donald Sutherland.
Yes, he passed away this week.
He went to the Southern Land.
Did he? I hope not. I hope he went to the Northern Land to be with our Lord and Jesus. But anyway, so yeah, I ordered Kelly's Heroes, stick it in the Blu-ray. Playback in this region is not available. I'm like, are you kidding? So I'm just going to go to like the bookstores and stuff like that and try to find stuff. Yes, Mr. Loudini, I see your hand is raised.
I heard that an awesome place to find Blu-rays and DVDs is Goodwill.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mummy and I were talking about it. I'm like, we got to make a trip to Goodwill.
Okay.
Because I definitely want to build a physical media back up. It's just becoming apparent to me that like this streaming thing. I don't think streaming is going to go away or anything like that. But I think what's going to happen, we're looking at is like these are going to turn back into television channels with commercials and the whole thing. There's just this. What the model is not sustainable.
Nope.
They cannot do what they want to do. I mean, if they try, give it a good 15 years or whatever to make it work,
and it's still not profitable.
Suffering.
Yeah.
And the way to do it is to have freaking advertising. And then if you want, and then like go back to people renting and buying, and that's just how it's going to have to fucking be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Gravy train is over, motherfuckers. No, I'm just kidding. Well, whatever.
Yeah. But so I'm done with that. Like, I know you go to half price books and stuff. I think I'm just
half price books is definitely one. Although I started making a list
and checking it twice
and checking it. I'm sorry, I don't want to hijack your
no.
segment.
You go ahead. I have one more thing to say, but I'll remember.
Okay.
Because I'm a professional.
Okay. Well, I have a I keep it in Samsung Notes.
Yes.
A list of movies that I'm interested in getting or checking out. And at this point, I'm like, if I see them, I'm just gonna buy them.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're like $5, $6. Like an expensive one, it's like $6.99.
Exactly.
That's an expensive one. But now these are just crazy ones. What I do is I watch a lot of YouTube channels where they talk about 10 movies that you didn't know, whatever, fill in the blank, or so. And here's some that I watched and really watched recently and really enjoyed, like Raw Deal. Super fucking fun.
Yeah.
But you know what? I see that somewhere on Blu-ray. I'm buying it. I'm gonna have
exactly.
it because it's a super fun movie. But one of the movies I was looking for was Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Ooh.
Yeah, and there's some like oddball anime ones that look really interesting. There's one called Memories from 1995, and then Fantastic Planet, which gets a lot of great reviews.
Yeah.
And I really want to find that, but I have a whole like crazy.
Yeah, I do the same thing. We'll talk about stuff, and I'll just immediately put it right in my notes.
Yeah, so that's all you have to write them down.
Yeah, because
some of them I did find and watch, like Streets of Fire. I really didn't like that.
I don't know.
But some of these I like. I remember writing them down, putting them on the list, but I don't remember what the reviewer said. And this sounds like a crazy title, but apparently it caught my attention. Granny is Dancing on the Table.
Huh. You'll have to find that.
This is a great movie title. Check this. This was the first one I put on my list.
Yeah.
Your vice is a locked room. What an intriguing title, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so so I do that. So what else you got?
All right, one more thing. So a couple of months ago, bought a Les Paul down at our friends at Guitar Gallery. Got a really good deal on it. Brought it home, and maybe a week or two later, my coworker's like, "Hey, I want to buy a guitar for my boyfriend. That'd be even hotter if it was for a girlfriend. No, for my boyfriend. And do you have any guitars you want to sell?" And I just bought this one. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I just got this one. I haven't really fallen in love with it. I'll sell it to you for what I paid for. So she bought it. Okay, so maybe a month or 2, 3 goes by, and she ends up quitting. And her boyfriend, she bought the guitar for, he also left the business, right?
Okay.
So through the grapevine, of course, you
heard
hear
it through
things.
The grapevine?
I did.
With the California raisins.
Yeah, they did. It was raisins. That maybe they weren't doing so well, this couple, and hadn't found employment or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Should I contact him and get that guitar back? And I'm like, dude, I don't want to take advantage of somebody's bad position or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, I didn't have to do it, Lou, because last week this guy texted me. He's like, "Hey man, you wanna buy that guitar back?" And I did. I ended up getting the guitar back, and I've been making just made a couple of videos with it today on TikTok. Hey folks,
pornos.
Hey folks, no, that's on my other channel. Hey folks, if you want to see some of the guitars I've talked about on the podcast here, I do have a TikTok channel, and I do tell you stories about them, and I play them. Yeah, Lou. And you can find me on TikTok. Just look for Pittsburgh Kevin.
The whole tick's talking.
Pittsburgh Kevin, the whole word all together, Pittsburgh Kevin, and you will find my channel, and you get to see some of these guitars to talk about. But anyway, so I got that guitar back. I'm very happy about that. I was making some TikToks with it today, and isn't life good, man? We got
grooving.
guitars. We
I need to get over myself because I record videos all the time and I'm like, oh man, I did this or I did that and I don't want to post. I just have to throw, especially TikTok because TikTok's TikTok.
Yeah, it's TikTok.
YouTube, you got to be a little bit. I think you have to edit and make it a little nicer,
a little snazzier for the discerning eye. I was going to say condescending eye, but
or that.
That's true too, actually. Yeah. So what you been up to?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Please, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Do you guys know? And if this offends you, I'm sorry because I think that this guy's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And whether you agree with his politics or not, I think he's funny as fuck. So this is the latest bit, the latest conversation on TikTok from the absolutely hilarious, like maybe even unintentionally hilarious, Jessie Peterson. You know Jessie Peterson?
I think so. Yeah.
You see 90%. Whenever you see 90% of white people vote for one single person.
How do you think the White House has remained white for all of these years?
Because the building is white.
I pissed my pants.
Oh my goodness!
How do you think the White House has remained White House? Yes, because the building is white.
Yeah.
It's just fucking great, dude.
It's conspiracy.
No, he's completely
That's funny.
Unflappable. Like people say, like, and he's just completely. I don't think I've ever seen him like get riled up one bit, man.
Yeah.
And he gets the most.
That's awesome.
I mean, he says the most crazy. This is great. This is the latest from Ricky Gervais.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff. Like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, it's like a hate crime. It makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that. Hi guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Man,
I'm a celebrity.
Awesome. This is the Ricky Gervais is one of the people on the planet that gives me hope for the human race. Wow, somebody with some common fucking sense, and he's funny as fuck.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh God. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Kick off with a little Jessie Peterson and Ricky Gervais. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with that. A couple things. I went to Denoya's with the doc on Saturday, and have you been to Denoya's on Penn?
No, I have not.
It's like an amazing Italian, a lot of attention to detail restaurant.
You had me at Italian.
But so she says, let's get the garlic bread.
Okay.
I'm like, well, I'm figured like, it's an Italian restaurant.
Sure.
Garlic bread's probably pretty good.
Yes.
So I'm expecting garlic bread.
Right.
No.
What happened?
What comes out is this giant plate, and it looks like a pizza.
Yeah.
With garlic and
like
actual
Parm
garlic
cheese
and Parmesan cheese and stuff on it, and it was this very almost like very light pizza crust kind of thing drizzled with olive oil.
Sure.
And then
and then
they gave you whipped ricotta to like drizzle on it. Yeah, it was wrong.
Oh,
it was wrong on so many levels.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. So I got to say thanks to the doc.
Nice.
For that, it was a good time. Oh, bless me now. What's going on here? Here we are. Okay, so
computer magic.
Yes, you need to check that out. We are music from the 412 is we're going to be our new affiliate. So
that's awesome.
I mentioned that earlier, so you don't have to keep doing that. Shifty Shellshock died.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So. Dead at 49 years old.
Wow.
I found it in his
Your youngster.
in his home, in his Los Angeles home. They didn't say, but they also said yes, he's had issues with drugs and alcohol for many years. Yeah. So there's probably some sort of either accidental or intentional overdose. Great. Let me see. What do I want to get into here?
There's so many topics.
I have a lot of topics here. This is like a pizza with a lot of toppings. Oh, okay.
Drizzle with olive oil.
Let me. I'm gonna kind of jump around here.
Okay.
So I did see a movie this week called Heat. Not the Heat from 1995. The Heat from about 9 years before, called with Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
And Peter McNichol.
Wow.
And it isn't a super fast action. I thought Heat might have been a misnaming of it.
Okay.
Because it isn't hot, fast action,
right.
And it isn't super sexy or anything
No,
either.
not sexy.
It's like a noir.
Okay.
With some action, some shooting, and some violence. But Howard Hessman is in it.
Oh wow, from WKRP, sure.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. It's an hour and 41 minutes, and so it's just long enough.
Right.
But you might want to give it a try. In the mood for something like that. It isn't. It's not like over the top. It's actually kind of thoughtful in places. There's a lot of dialogue and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's kind of a quiet kind of. It's not what I thought by being called Heat. I would have thought.
Right. There's some.
It's
spicy.
It's
spicy.
Yeah. It's a little violent. It's a little violent. And I also finished a book I'd been reading called Usher's Passing by Robert McGammon. Robert McGammon started out as a horror writer, much in the vein of Stephen King. He's kind of like Stephen King's, third cousin. Not really, but you know what I mean? It's very much in that vein. He's not crazy over the top like Clive Barker or doing some of the guys that are doing some more weird stuff. He's not necessarily cosmic horror or whatever. But he's very much in the Stephen King camp of things. So if you like Stephen King, you probably like some of Robert McGammon's books, especially his early ones. But this was released in the mid-'80s. It's called Usher's Passing. It is a riff on Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
So, first of all, I thought, okay, I was just looking for something. And I did not like the previous Stephen King novel that I had read, so I thought, okay, I'll go to Robert McGammon. These are always really good. And I started listening to it on Audible, and I almost turned it off in the first couple of minutes as a very cringy prologue where Hudson Usher, who's the son of Roderick Usher, confronts Edgar Allan Poe about his story, as if the Ushers were real and he should have known.
Right.
And it's just really I was praying. I'm like, man, if this is what the story
whole
is,
thing's going to be.
This isn't going to fly. I'm not going to get through this. Also, the narrator can a lot of times make or break them on Audible.
Yeah.
And this guy, when he just read the story, it was good. He had a good speaking voice. But his voices were over exaggerated, just annoying as fuck at times. He gave some of the characters really just the most annoying voices, and they would speak for a while, and you'd be like, all right, shut the fuck up, just read the story. I was losing my mind in some places, so it took you out of the experience, which was part of the problem. The other thing was this novel is shoving 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. It's got so many characters and all kinds of things, and it's not
busting at the seams.
It's not long enough to really give everything its due. You know what I mean? If you're going to do something with that many characters and that many angles, you probably really need to really get a lot deeper. And it really wasn't all that long. And most of the characters are completely unlikable. And here's a problem. Anybody that writes anything, this is something you guys have to understand. You know what I mean? If you're going to write, you can write somebody who is maybe morally questionable and make them likable.
Right.
In other words, you can write imperfect people but make them likable. That's that's totally doable. But when you don't like them and then you get them later on in the story where they're in danger, there's very
you don't really care.
You don't really care. Okay,
so what?
This is okay. What's going on? You know what I mean? So it did stuff like that. So I'm not gonna. My favorite Robert McGammon, if I would recommend Going South, which is actually not a horror novel. It's like a Southern Gothic crime comedy romance. It's really fun. Go on south if you get a chance to read that. Mr. Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of this expression? Rockism. I wanted to have this. We might get into this more with Lily next week.
Because she's a rockist.
That is actually what they're rockist.
Right?
They're called rockists.
Are they?
Yes. So rockism is a sort of belief that if it doesn't sort of really conform to a certain image of what rock is, then it's probably not very good music.
Yeah.
So in other words, you know, it's kind of like if you don't have these tropes, you don't have guitar, bass, drums, and then like a good lead singer, and you know what I mean. Like you don't have these like trappings.
Yeah.
There's no way it can be good. So it's a kind of elitist kind of attitude, and I think that a lot of Gen Xers and especially Boomers kind of have a rockist kind of point of view when it comes to modern music, and that if it doesn't really fit into that, or we can't make it fit into the rock thing, it's hard for us to get our to kind of get our heads around. And some of us will outright say that it's garbage. And this is a video from Punk Rock MBA. If you don't follow Punk Rock MBA on YouTube and you like YouTube, you should definitely follow his channel. It's really good. Always, you're not going to always agree with everything he says, but he always makes you think, and he always has a very kind of like even way of portraying things. He's not attacking anybody. He's just like sort of presenting, ideas without he doesn't really get like in your face in that way. Not too much. Anyways, and so they were talking about how the punks, this doesn't really have punk attitude, so it sucks. There's always like rockist, metalheads a lot of times will, look at the whole thing with Metallica and the Black Album.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's very like the metalist or rockist in a sense that like it didn't conform to a certain idea of what people thought it should be, so therefore it sucks.
Right.
This is a really interesting, and it really made me think about my taste in music, and something I've been saying for a really long time. We need to let young people have their music. Music is never going to progress if, it's cool that there's so many young people that like Led Zeppelin. I think that's awesome. That's really, 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 really fucking cool. But it's okay for them to do music in their own way, including things like tuning the vocals, including things like beat mapping, including things like loops and stuff like that. Like that's just like how that generation is part of how they make music.
Yeah.
It's like to take that away from them is just really shitty, and I don't want to do that. Like I've said many times, my parents hated my music. It caused so much division in our family when we were kids. So like I just don't like to see that being done to young people.
Right.
Great video. I put a link to it in the show notes. The real meaning behind and the history of "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult, and it was very interesting. Buck Dharma wrote the song. It was a sort of like fantasy sci-fi kind of idea of this guy that's dead and he comes back for his girlfriend and they go to some other realm and it's kind of thing. But he said that he wrote the riff and he called the drummer and said, played it for him with fun. He was like, I'm not really hearing it, but he mixed a little demo and brought it over like a week or so later, and they all absolutely fell in love with it. Yeah, they were like, this is it, this is going to be the song, and it was. This is what kind of broke them out. And they were all the drummer said he played it for his girlfriend and she started crying. She says, are you telling me you want to break up with me? Goes, no,
it's such a good song.
Yeah. She's like, Donald wrote it. That's Buck Dharma is not his real name. His real name is Donald.
What?
I can't remember his last name. But all the guys in the band refer to him as Ronald. Excuse me. And they all refer to him as Ron. And so when so it's like, no, that's Buck Dharma. That's the dude from Blue Oyster Cult. But yeah. I put a link to it. I think it's an interesting story. It's fun, and when Saturday Night Live did that, it had a whole resurgence. It became
people are like,
song.
It's a good song.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I put a link also to this video. We're going to be following AI music and what's going on with AI and music, on this podcast. We've been doing that and just kind of giving you little updates. So I ran across a great point of view by a guy who makes sync music. You know what sync music is?
I don't.
Sync music is music that sync, meaning spelled
That's
SYNC.
C.
It refers to music that's used in commercials, used in television and movies and in video games and stuff like that.
Okay.
You get they purchase this through a sync license, and they can use the song, and the producer of the music, the songwriter, whatever, gets paid. So this is what he does for a living. And so he was talking about how, he gets all these comments all the time. Well, you might as well sell all your gear now, and stuff, So he's like, he gave some interesting perspective. He says, first of all, these libraries for the sync music are so vast.
Yeah.
There's so much music. There's like probably decades of music there.
Wow.
They're not going to go
Right.
get online and try to make something with UDO or something. They're going to just go to the sync library where they've been going,
right?
Because that's, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
And that music and those things are curated. They can go and talk to somebody there who can like give them like 4 or 5 different things that they might like. You know what I mean? So like this system is really, really ingrained. Not that it can't be replaced. Not that it can't be, but. Before that, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome. The other thing is, what people don't know, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes with AI, is that there is a real concern. I'm friends with somebody who actually went to hearings in Congress about like what they're going to do about this, because there's a lot of concern about copyright. Who gets the copyright when something is made with AI?
Interesting.
And since AI is just basically going out and just like collating data from all over the internet, it's not really, I don't really believe that this is artificial intelligence. This isn't even C-3PO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Let alone like some super, you know what I mean? This is like, this is definitely not HAL 9000?
Sure, why not?
Is his name Hal?
Yeah.
From
we're
2001
not.
Space Odyssey.
Too bad we're not Kubrick fans.
So it's not anything like that. It's basically like a very sophisticated search engine that goes out and grabs everything and like kind of makes something out of
Puts
it
together,
with based on certain algorithms and stuff like that. So so there's concern that people are going to say, like, make me a song that sounds like Hotel California. You know what I mean? And how, are the Eagles going to have a case?
Right.
That, like, well, wait a minute. This person said they wanted a song.
Specifically.
So music, people that use sync music, like, they don't go anywhere near that, because what if they get something like that and they found out the guy told the computer, make me something that sounds like Urge Overkill or whatever, and then Urge Overkill finds out about it,
right,
and is like, we know that's based on our music. I mean, it's a cluster.
Wow, that's interesting.
So there's a lot of stuff that like they're trying to find a way to keep people from using AI to like impersonate celebrities and stuff like that, but that's not going to happen. They're going to be. You're not going to stop that, I don't think. People are going to do that.
Although celebrities can now say, like, that wasn't me.
Well, you watch.
Yep.
What happens during the election with AI?
Oh Lord.
So, anyways, so it's like, there's not as much to feel. What this is probably going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, is just another tool that musicians are going to use.
Yeah.
They're gonna play around with this, and to do, it has all kind of applications if you're a musician, other than just telling it to write your song for you.
Right.
That's the thing. It's something that people don't realize. Human beings like writing songs.
Yeah.
Human beings like singing. Human beings like learning to play instruments. Like, they like doing it. This isn't like, this could do it, but it's not the same satisfaction at all.
Exactly.
The people that like to play music are going to want to play music.
Exactly.
That's just period. So that was a little bit of just like comings and goings and things that are going on.
Comings and goings.
He came and he went in his pants.
Sure did.
So,
Embarrassing.
let's get into today's topic.
Yes.
Main topic.
Sure, the main vein
Feeling
topic.
very topical.
Yes.
It's very highly topical. It's like a topical cream. So,
Yes. Lou. Yes.
the Gibson Les Paul. Why don't we tell people what a Gibson Les Paul actually is before we get into the whole thing? What is a Gibson Les Paul?
Basically, it's an electric guitar. It's one of the most famous electric guitars around. That was pretty simple.
One of the guitars is considered to have built rock.
Yes.
This is the guitar. This is kind of our series. We're calling this the gear that built rock, and the Les Paul built rock.
Definitely.
And so, if you were a fan of anybody from Eric Clapton to Jimmy Page, Peter Frampton,
Sure. Don't forget Slash.
Paul
This is nice.
Kossoff,
Yes.
Joe Perry, Brad
Sure.
Whitford, even Keith Richards.
Keith Richards.
Jeff Beck famously played Les Paul for a long time.
Sure.
Even Eric Clapton. Well, I didn't mention Eric Clapton.
Everybody did.
But it's so funny because it is one of the most popular models of the Gibson guitar.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually a signature. It's the reason
Right.
it's called the Les Paul
Right.
is because it is the actual signature guitar of the guitarist, the pre-rock guitarist Les Paul,
Sure.
who had a lot to do with the design of the instrument and the design of the solid body guitar in general.
yeah.
And him and his wife had a very popular television show at the time, and he was known as a really hot guitar player.
Yeah.
And
he was.
Yeah, he was. It's awesome, and it's still today very, very impressive. I loved when rock guys cover like How High the Moon. I think Jared
Right.
James Nichols or somebody does How High the Moon.
Really?
Yeah, it's fun. It's really neat to hear guys play that stuff. But so that is the Les Paul. Well, and as time has gone by, the Les Paul now has sub.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like about 5 that I think are like kind of most
prevalent.
prevalent, and then also the ones that stick with the image,
Basic. Yeah.
what an actual Les Paul is. I'm not talking about the ones the juniors and the stuff where that's like a flat slab body
It's
and all
the
that.
single
Or it's like
cutaway,
carved
carved top,
top, for the most part, to sometimes 3 pickups.
Yep.
That 6 on a side, traditional Gibson headstock, that sort of thing. We're not talking about signature models.
Right. We're talking about the basic.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Les Paul that they released in the late 1980s. They had a double cutaway and a Floyd Rose and a Explorer headstock. Remember that thing?
Yeah, the XPL.
Yeah.
I know my Les Pauls. The XPL. And you know what? I owned one. So there you go.
Right.
Yes.
So,
But yeah, no, we're talking about the standard.
well, here's what we are
basic.
talking about: the standard,
Right,
the
the
classic,
basic
the
bar.
studio,
Yes,
traditional, and the
sure.
custom.
Okay. You forgot one, but don't worry.
Which one did I forget?
Deluxe.
I wasn't going to talk about the Deluxe, but we can.
You weren't.
No, we can put it on there. Well, no, let's do it.
I feel bad
because
now.
it is the this is the Norland era, right?
Right. Yeah, baby.
Deluxe.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So we have 6 now on our list.
Sure.
So let's start anywhere you want, Mr. Pittsburgh.
So
Mr.
I'm going to start.
Pittsburgh is sort of like handling the
I
situation.
know. I had a Les Paul or 2000. So we're going to go back to the history. The first Les Paul was released in 1952. It was a gold finish with single coil pickups, 2 of them, and the trapeze style bridge. Now that's the weird one. That's the strings went underneath the bridge, so it made it very hard to mute with your palm. All right, Lou. That was 1952. Don't you worry, Lou. 1953, that particular bridge was replaced with a combination bridge and tailpiece, much like the Oxblood, the Jeff Beck Oxblood with the single. Okay. But at this point, there was no designation of the guitar other than the Les Paul model. So it wasn't a standard classic studio. It was just the Les Paul model.
They hadn't gotten that far yet.
Not yet, but it's coming. So an updated version of the Les Paul was introduced in 1954. Now this one was called the Custom. And Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So it was kind of like, a lot of times there's a lot of correlation between the automotive industry and the guitar industry. Like Fender had all their automotive paints and things like this. Well, the thought behind the Les Paul Custom was very similar to, like, if you go to a car dealer and say, you know, that's a nice car, but I want air conditioning or I want power.
I want the Chrysler New Yorker Custom.
Yeah. So this is kind of an upgraded Les Paul.
I want to see one LeBaron, Mr. Pittsburgh.
Freddie.
Who
Anyway,
got that reference out?
Freddie got fingered. So it was the first Les Paul to feature the two-pneumatic bridge. So they got rid of that just the one
the
piece.
single,
the single one, right? Which it was
Two-pneumatic. It's like Dynamitic.
Yeah, the two-pneumatic was really nice. It was quite a feature because it had adjustable saddles, so you could actually dial in your intonation, become a little more precise. So let's see. Let's talk some more about the custom. Here we go. So, excuse me. The custom itself featured a black finish, ebony fretboard, which is
black
an upgrade.
is beautiful, you know.
It is ebony fretboard, which is an upgrade to the rosewood fingerboard. Of course, I mentioned the two-pneumatic bridge. It had gold hardware, and unlike the regular Les Pauls, which have a mahogany body and a maple top,
Okay.
the custom is all maple. Mahogany?
Mahogany or maple?
I came pre-lubricated. It's all mahogany.
Okay.
Yeah. It also featured a new pickup in the neck. So
that weird thing with the
they had been running P90s, but the Alnico pickup, which is what you were describing, was louder than the P90. It had rectangular pole pieces, and it was Seth Lover. He said it was the little square pole pieces. The only reason he did that was just to be different, so it had no sonic implications or whatever. So in 1957, okay, I'm just following my notes here. In 1957, Gibson introduced the humbucker pickup. Yes, very sexy. Very sexy. Had double coils that canceled the buzzing or the hum from outside electronic interference. Okay.
It was an improvement. It was considered an improvement.
It was an improvement, very much so. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So sales began to slip around 57.
Slip, slide,
because it's the same
away.
guitar. It's gold. It's blah blah blah. Yeah, it has humbuckers. People started getting tired of it. So Gibson in 1958 offered a new finish. Listen to this. Listen, this is crazy.
Oh Lord Jesus!
It was called, dig this, a sunburst. Now this particular sunburst was kind of transparent, and it featured the quarter sawn wood grain. Okay, so when you talk about the flame or the striping of a Les Paul, that's
By
sometimes
flame,
the
you
wood
don't
grain.
mean like flaming out, do you?
Do you mean like flaming, or would they send us someplace special? So anyway, the thing about those stripes that you see in a Les Paul, a sunburst Les Paul from the 50s, those stripes are actually the age lines. You know, when you cut down a tree and you see those rings, the lines, those are those, but they're actually cut from the side, so you actually see them go down the tree. I thought that was kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yes, fascinating, Captain. Fascinating. So 1958, 59, and 1960, they were featuring these wonderful sunbursts, and these are legendary, sometimes $1 million worth of guitars today. Now listen to this.
That is arguably the most sought after guitar.
Sure. It's the
are the
Holy
Les
Grail.
Pauls from that
It's the Holy
era.
Grail,
Now
isn't it?
now what were they referred to though? Were they considered customs or what were they called?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. You know what they were called?
No.
They weren't called really anything. They were the regular Les Paul. So you had the custom Les Paul, and you had the regular
So
Les Paul.
so in
That's
other words,
all.
like the kaopectate.
So there's no that's the standard.
So it kept you
brand.
regular.
They did keep you regular. It's just a regular Les Paul. Now, again, sales start dropping after a while. And in 1961, Gibson...
I'm flopping.
Hey, now! In 1961, Gibson introduced a redesigned Les Paul. You know, if something's not broke, why fix it?
Don't tell me.
They did it.
Jesus, help me.
did
Don't
it.
tell me now.
They did it. They redesigned the Les Paul. This particular guitar, it was a double cutaway.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Hey, now. It was a double cutaway. It was a much thinner body. Yes.
No.
Yes. Now listen. Hold on.
Crazy.
Yeah, it ran until 1963. So
That's
1961,
insane.
1963. This style. No. So listen to this. So they had the custom new Les Paul with the thinner body and the horns, and it had triple pickups in it. But here we go.
That butt.
But the regular has now been designated the standard. So what we now call the
now
SG.
This is how the standard was born.
That's how the that's how the standard was born.
Because they called that thing. It's actually an SG.
Right.
So we all call it SG now.
Right.
But for a couple years, it was called Les
It
Paul.
was the Les Paul. It was the new Les Paul. There were no single cutaway Les Pauls made from 61 to 63. Now, rumor had it that Les hated that new version, the SG version. And that ended the first era of the Les Paul.
And that ended his relationship with Gibson in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yes. Now listen to this. I found this fascinating. Because you know what?
no.
The whole history of Gibson and Les Paul
Oh, Jesus.
just filled with so many different stories that none can be substantiated. Now, here's the story I heard. The truth is, Les didn't hate that guitar and request him, and that's what broke the relationship up. The truth is, Les Paul and Mary Ford were getting divorced during this time, and when Les's contract was up with Gibson, he didn't want to resign prior to exactly right. Les didn't want her receiving future royalties from Gibson. So anyway, 1963, Les Paul and Gibson kind of parted ways. Okay. So as the 60s are progressing, old Les Pauls are kind of gaining in favor with blues players, rock musicians, and Les. Now, granted, Les really isn't doing anything right now. He's just kind of he's not outperforming rock because he was very much a jazz player. So he's just kind of sitting around, but he's noticing this shit going on. So Les calls Gibson.
Oh, Gibson, what are you doing?
He says, "Hey, what's going on?" They're like,
Tell
really?
me about yourself now.
Yeah. They're like,
Don't hold me back. A man has to know what's happening.
Exactly. So Les is like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" And Gibson's like, "We're really not much. We're losing so much money." So Les proposed, "Why don't we? This guitar's becoming popular again. Why don't we reissue it?" And he signed a contract with them. He signed with them in 1967, and in 1968, Gibson reissued the original single cutaway version of the standard and the custom. That was not the SG, so they discounted.
So now we have the custom
and the standard.
And the standard.
Yes,
so that's the beginning of it. So what is the difference? The custom is the standard, but with like some upgraded features, like the ebony fretboard, the gold hardware, the fine tuners.
Right.
It had the super low frets. Right.
Right.
They called it the fretless.
The
wonder.
Fretless Wonder. Yes.
So it was like,
You
that
could
was
play
the
faster.
custom. Yeah.
Whatever.
And then, but the standard was just the standard. This
Yeah,
is
that's just your standard Les
the
Paul.
original
That's it.
one, and
Two guitars.
with nothing fancy. Just the basic shit. Okay.
All right. So they get together. Now the standard. Now it's called the standard. In 1968, is a P90 gold top, very similar to the original, just regular Les Paul from the 50s. I'm sorry, 50s. The custom was a black Les Paul. With humbuckers. It had the humbuckers in it. That's the ones that cancel the noise, okay? In 1969, so now...
69, dude!
Oh, it's been so long. In 1969, a new model was introduced. Standard players wanted the humbuckers. They didn't want the P90s. They wanted the humbuckers in there. So, what does Gibson do? They're brilliant here. Do they just put humbuckers in the standard? No. They created a whole new guitar called the Fender Deluxe, and it had mini humbuckers. Have you ever played a mini humbucker?
No, I have not.
I have not either. I've heard it's like very thin. It sounds
I've
very
heard
thin.
it well, but there are some. Let me tell you.
Yes, do tell.
Go listen to the guitar solo on "Spooky" by Atlantic Rhythm Section.
Okay.
That is a Les Paul Deluxe with the mini humbucker.
Oh, interesting.
It sounds really fucking good, and I believe that Dickie Betts played a deluxe on some of the Allman Brothers stuff. Yeah, it's got like a brighter type tone. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, don't worry, Lou. 1970, the standard finally got its full-size humbuckers back. All right, so
Just in time for Gibson to be sold to Norland, right?
basically,
Yeah, right
Yep.
after. Yeah, we got
Yep, the Norland. So I had mentioned a couple of other...
So we have talked about the Deluxe. So the Deluxe is basically the standard with the mini humbucker.
With the mini humbuckers, because they didn't want to route the standards out to, come on.
Okay.
Come on now.
So the mini humbuckers were a kind of problem-solving thing.
Exactly.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to do all this extra woodwork. Well, I mean,
They'll get their humbuckers, but
and
we
it
can
is-
jam it into that
and
little
it
tiny...
is- and it is a business. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have these guitars ready to go. And the Deluxes, like I said, a lot of people play the Deluxes, and they are considered collectible now.
Sure. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see.
So we've covered. So now we know the standard, the custom, and the Deluxe.
The Deluxe, yes.
So
all right.
we need to talk about the classic, the studio, and the traditional.
Okay, let me fast forward here because I had a whole bunch of models. I'm like, I don't know what he wants to talk about.
Well, maybe we'll jump around and get a couple. If we have enough time, maybe we'll get a couple
Oh,
more.
sure, yeah. All right, so let's go to 1983. 1983, the Studio was introduced as an inexpensive version that still featured the archtop, the humbuckers, Tune-o-matic bridge, but it was a lot more affordable. There's no binding on it, so that saved about $300 right there, Gibson estimated. So 1983, the Studio was introduced, and it's basically just for working musicians that still want that Les Paul but don't want to pay the extra for maybe the sunburst top or something like that.
Yeah, it has less
Accoutrements.
accoutrement or appointments.
Yes.
It's just it is more of a just workhorse.
Basically.
Workhorse.
Yeah. So 1990.
1990.
Hey now, the class. we have Tourette's. We have podcast Tourette's. Anyway, in 1990, the classic was introduced. Wow, what's the classic? Yes, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about that there, Lou. So people were kind of clamoring for the older Les Pauls with the slimmer necks, and Gibson took notice. So the 1990 classic was fashioned after the 1960 Les Paul. So it had slimmer neck, kind of like the people back in the 60s used to take the covers off and expose the bobbins, so they thought that would be cool. So they didn't put any covers on the pickup, so it has exposed. So like my classic, I have my triple pickup. They're all black bobbin,
Okay.
Let's see. And the way you can kind of tell the early classics, two things. They actually put the number 1960 on the pickguard in gold, and also had a truss rod cover that said classic on it. So there's your classics.
Okay, because I have a Les Paul Classic.
Yes, I do too, yes.
And I really had a hell of a time getting the guitar store to explain to me what it was.
Yeah.
And the one thing, though, about that guitar, and this is not a class, I wish somebody could explain it to me. I should take that down there and ask them. It is not one piece.
Yeah, that's weird. All my classics have been one piece.
Most Les Pauls are. I had
And
a
I've owned
studio
a
that was
lot.
one piece.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why. And it didn't know. It was funny. I was at breakfast with my girlfriend, and I said, I had come into some money, and I said, this is the guitar I want. I said, but I'm not going to just go buy the first one. Like, I'm going to make sure, I check a bunch of them out.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I went over to Guitar Gallery, and I had that guitar, and I did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Nice.
And I just, she was like, I thought you were going to shop around. I'm like, shut up.
Shut your pie hole, you said. All right. So in 1998.
But real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Mine is the gold top.
Yeah.
With the cream color P90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I really.
Is it over there?
It's right behind us.
Does it have 1960 on the picture? No.
No.
Because they stopped doing that after a while. That's why I couldn't remember if yours did. I've had classics with 1960 on a pickguard.
So, in other words, if you're going to go buy a Les Paul.
Yeah.
And you want like an actual Les Paul.
Yes.
And you want the binding, and you like all that stuff. Like, don't be afraid because it says classic on that. It is a full-fledged.
It
like
is.
It is a standard.
Yeah.
It basically is a standard. Neck shaped a little bit different.
Exactly. Yeah. I've owned many. Yeah. And the one Gibson I have now is a classic. So, yeah, don't be afraid of those.
All
right. So 1998, your friend of mine, the double horned Les Paul returned as the SG.
Double horny.
Yes, 1998. Lou.
Double horny when
Lou.
I look at it.
Lou.
What?
What's that SG stand for?
Hold on. Hold on. Spanish.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, electric Spanish.
Yeah, I'm talking about SG.
Oh.
It's a good thing I'm here to correct you.
I was thinking of electric Spanish. That's the
Sí.
SG.
That's
Spanish
yes.
electric. Electric Spanish.
Yes.
SG.
Sí.
It stands for. I don't know. I forget what it stands.
Because there's been so many, like
I did look it up at one point.
Yeah, it is.
But the problem is
Yes.
that I had the wrong thing in my head for so long. I keep going back to the wrong thing.
It
I
is.
think that I always just thought it stood for standard guitar. But
That's exactly what it. No, solid.
Solid guitar.
Yes. So, I thought you were going to say Satan's guitar because it looks like the devil. It's a devil. Anyway. So here's a couple. I'm going to mention this one real quick because I've actually seen and played this. 2003, the Les Paul Supreme was released. I'm sure you've seen Supremes, haven't you?
Baby love,
There you
my
go. I knew it was
baby
coming.
love. Right?
So what made the Supremes so
Diana
special?
Ross.
Yeah, what made the Supremes
I want
the world to know was they had Quad A, and I don't know the quality. I don't know what all that means. Quad A flame top, carved top, and back. So the front of the guitar was carved, and the back was carved also.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing, though: if you carve the back, you can't have like a electronics cavity. So they have no electronics cavity or cavity cover. That everything is done through the pickup holes and stuff on the Supremes. Yeah, and also what makes it really unique is it has a globe inlay headstock. Oh my god!
A what inlay?
A globe. It's actually a globe.
Oh, like the Earth.
Yes. Okay. Like the Earth. Okay.
Like the Earth.
Like the Earth. Welcome to Earth. Okay, so a couple of the other ones I know about. I didn't take any notes on, but I do know the traditional.
Yeah, I want to know what traditional.
So here's the thing about the traditional. And I know this for a fact because I've had both standards and traditionals of that era. So they started doing the chambering in the standards, and so they're much lighter. And people were actually complaining they actually like kind of a heavier, more full guitar. So what they did is the standard stayed the same with the cavities cut out to make them lighter. But they released a thing called the traditional, which was a non-chambered Les Paul. So that's the difference there. But yeah, I think we've covered them all.
Why would you want? I don't know.
It's like Coke and classic Coke to me.
Well, the other thing is, like that. I mean, Les Paul is a heavy guitar.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
You know,
25
so I mean, I don't know. To me, anything that makes it lighter is better.
Well, yes and no. Here's the other thought: is if it's a thicker guitar, you're going to have a little more resonance. Not maybe resonance. No, because that would be hollow. But you just get a much warmer feel, I think, from a heavier guitar, a nice, thick, dense guitar. That's just me.
That's what
but I've always
you're
liked,
sticking with that.
I like heavy guitars though. Probably because my very first Les Paul copy was super light, and the first time I picked up a 79 Les Paul standard Sunburst, dude, it felt heavy, and I felt like, oh, this is a real guitar. So I think that's in my subconscious somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guitar that I wanted to mention that I had forgot to put on the list is the Tribute. It's an even more affordable version than the Studio.
Sure.
Very retro, stripped down look. The main physical difference you'll notice between the Tribute and the rest of the range is its finish. They have this. They do it in this like satin kind of finish.
Yeah.
Satin
I forgot
lacquer.
about those. Yeah.
The cool thing about the satin lacquer is if you like your guitar to relic a bit, it will relic a lot faster with this. It has a rounded profile on the neck, which says it's a little bit more like the standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too chunky in the neck.
Chunky.
The body weight, it does have weight relief.
Okay. Or chambering. Yeah.
So it has they put a 490 series humbuckers in it, like in the Studio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Tribute is. And so this is an okay guitar. If you you don't want to, you're on a little bit more of a budget. At the time of this podcast right now, used guitars are are actually doing. You can get really good deals.
Yeah.
There's a standard that keeps showing up. It goes away and it comes back, and I get another thing, and every time it comes back, it has a lower price, and it's a standard, dude. It's got a nice top on it for like $1,700.
Wow.
It's like $16.99 or something like that, and I'm like, damn. It was like 22, and then it went. Then I assume somebody bought it, and then it showed back up on for like $19.50. You know, and now it's back at like $16.99 or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, you just have to keep your eye out.
Keep your eye out, and do not turn your nose up at a classic.
No.
I'm like, oh, it's not a standard for you. You know what? If it really bugs you that much, you can go and buy the truss rod cover that says standard, and you can put it on there.
Exactly. I think I did that on a couple of mine.
You know, if it bothers you that much. We're so weird. Guitar players are their like own fucking.
We are strange people.
We have problems,
but it's okay.
I don't know if it is.
Oh.
I think that remains to be seen. Oh crap!
Oh boy!
Crap cannoli.
Yeah. Oh, that's delicious.
So I did something. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the podcast, trying to find the way to turn the podcast into a blog. If it's a blog, because everything you search on the internet is still done with written words.
Right. Exactly.
So having a blog gives like a written version of the podcast, and we have all the keywords in there. We're talking about Les Paul, we're talking about Jimmy Page, we're talking about Eddie Van Halen. These are all things that people. So it's going to make it. I think it can help us get some more, bring some more people into the family here. So, but it's hilarious. So look at these transcripts.
Of the show.
Yeah, the show. It's like, really? That came out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I said? And it's just funny to see it written out. Like,
right?
Crazy shit that we say, like, written out. Just like that right
That's
now. Crazy
crazy
shit that we say. I'll look at that and I'll just laugh for 20 minutes. I don't know why. It's funny as fuck.
I mean, listen, sometimes I listen back to the podcast and I remember what we said, but sometimes it catches you off guard.
Well, that too, and it goes by quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're in the moment. You're trying to do stuff. You're trying to think what you're going to say next.
Yep. Oh, man, that's funny.
Oh, my God. So, what do you think is your, in your collections?
Okay.
Which?
I already know. Well, you go ahead.
What's your favorite?
It was that Gary Moore. I had a Gary Moore signature. And the thing about the Gary Moore, if you look at all the guitars, the striping, the wood grain is very, very tight on all of the reissues. Yes. I happened to find one on eBay where the flame was very loose. The striping was very far apart. And you would put it in the light, much you put it in the light, and it looked like the flame was dancing as you move the guitar around. And I've never seen another Gary Moore like that. So yeah, the one that got away. They all got away. I get buy sell trade.
The Les Paul is kind of the Stradivarius.
Yes.
It's the Steinway and Sons. It's
right.
It's the it's the pinnacle of status for guitar players to own a Gibson Les Paul.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of thing right now. The Gibson and PRS are considered luxury brands.
Yeah, I can see that
because they're so expensive. And we just did a podcast on cheap guitars. And that's just the issue with these luxury brand guitars is that shit, man, like you don't want to nick that thing,
right?
You know what I mean? I do, but you don't. You know what I mean? Phil McKnight did he had a guitar. There's a series of guitars. Remember the painting that was really popular in the 80s? I wish I could remember the artist's name. If I said it, if you saw it, you would say, I know exactly what you're talking about. These paintings were like all over the place in the 1980s. Like in
Banks, not Banksy.
But the guy, it's very ultra modern. The girls all look like super.
Oh, starts with a V.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Fargus or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
Okay,
The Playboy featured them a lot.
So
Sure.
they
okay.
did. Somebody did a series of guitars with the original paintings by this guy.
Oh.
On them. Yeah, they're like $7,000 a piece.
Oh, Duran Duran had one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're
yes.
like, but like Phil Knight was like, do not nick it, because like you make one thing in it, like it's gonna kill the value of it.
Yeah.
But like what so this is again. So now, okay, you're just collecting. What are you doing? Like, and I'm not criticizing that. You like what you like. You are who you are. You do what you do. If you're an engineer, a doctor, an attorney,
and you like to have a nice little collection.
you know what I mean, and you know what I mean. Sure,
Yep.
Membership has its privileges. It's good to be the king, right?
Yes.
But I think that they're and I. So I don't know, whatever your thing is, like, but try not to be too hard on what people like what they like.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody's at a different place in life, and they got to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have said many times to myself, I would never own that or whatever. But I'm also going like, well, why limit yourself? Mm-hmm. Because you may be in a position someday, you know what I mean, to do that. And if really there was you had no really other financial issue, and you are a guitar idiot.
Yeah, idiot.
You know what I mean? Like why not? You know what I mean? It's something that I enjoy. I love guitars. I'm like really, really all about them.
Hey.
At this moment, though,
yes.
I just personally happen to have all the pieces I like.
Yeah.
Not really like. I'm not exactly sure what would tempt me to buy a guitar. I mean that Rickenbacker is going for sale.
Yeah.
It's been. I've not taken it back out of the case since you brought it back.
Really? Yeah.
And I don't want to just have a guitar that I don't play. I also feel like that could go to somebody who might really enjoy the guitar and play it and everything. And then I can take that money and turn it into something else. So it's not like, I'm just giving up. No, it's just not. It doesn't really resonate with me. I wanted it to.
Yep.
It looks cool. It's a really cool looking guitar. So you never know, like where you're going to be in life. But I would definitely. Don't want to put any limits on it, because you never know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? I might be in a position in a couple of years to go like, you know what, man? No, I want a fucking Gary Moore with the flames spread apart.
Right.
Really, you know what I mean? Okay, so it's $12,000. I'm getting it. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So that I said all that to say that like we have a Patreon. No, I'm just kidding.
So if you want to help us make our dreams come true.
We're gonna make our dreams come true, doing it our way.
Oh my god!
So, oh my god! So what we're gonna talk? Anyways, I put a link up to Anderton's website where they really go into like
detail.
They go into a lot of different models we didn't talk about.
Right.
So if you want more information on the Les Paul, you can go there. If you're interested in playing guitar, follow the links and stuff on our website. Get a hold of me. I am working on something where we're going to have a community where I'm going to be doing like group teaching and stuff on the guitar. So good things are afloat. So let's talk about some new-ish,
notable-ish
music.
Okay, let's do it.
So the first one we're going to talk. I love this name.
Yeah.
You want to talk about these guys for a second?
So it's one of those cases where I found this band on TikTok and I'm like, is this a real song? Is this a real band? Yes, it is. This is the Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre with their newly released I Want to Pet Your Dog.
He really wants to pet your dog.
He does.
I'm getting the impression that this gentleman really wants to pet your dog.
But yeah, once I found this is a real band and a real song, not just some parody, I'm like, I'm in.
Are paws really feet or are they hands? Back stretches, belly rubs and swooches.
Yeah, this is a song that, like, when I heard this, I thought, like, if this had come out in the 1990s,
Oh yeah.
this would have been a fucking huge song.
Uh-huh.
That's fucking great, man. It would have been all over MTV.
Oh yeah.
No. That's a good pick, Mr. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And again, so happy it's not 7 years old.
So this is a band called Skinny Knowledge.
Yes.
They are exciting 4-piece alt rock band bursting out from UK South Coast. The band's sound and high energy live performances capture the vibrancy, there's a word you don't see all the time, of the raw and raucous. This is early 90s grunge sort of pop punk sound reminiscent of the Foo Fighters, Green Day, Nirvana, and Sum 41. Actually, I don't hear any of that in this song.
Okay.
I'm going to play for you.
Well,
I was like, if you, this is not what I'll play the song for you, and you tell me if you hear that stuff. I don't hear that. I hear something different. This song is called I Wanna Rock and Roll.
All right then.
I'm just here because I wanna party. I'm just here because I'm broken hearted. 'Cause I'm down and I'm out and I wanna rock and roll. I threw out your tape because what the fuck? I guess I should finish what I started. 'Cause I'm over being broken hearted. Tell me down, tell me now. I wanna rock and roll. I wanna rock and roll.
Maybe the Sum 41
Yeah.
stuff, but not
Not like
definitely
Green
hear
Day
Nirvana
and
stuff.
Foo. Yeah.
But
That's very good. I
It's
like
a cool
it. It's
song.
really
yeah,
fun.
super
Yeah.
fun. Super fun. This was released 8 months ago.
Nice.
Skinny Knowledge, and they actually have. I was reading from their actual website, skinnyknowledge.com. So they actually
They
took
actually
the
have a
time-
website.
Yes, good on
Nice.
them. And all of the songs that we play on New and Notable, plus some we have not played, are available on our own YouTube playlist
Yes.
called New and Notable. So I post about that in our Facebook group all the time. I share it all the time, so that all y'all, we still going, so that all y'all can listen to it and enjoy it as well.
Yes.
That's just, you know why?
Why?
Pittsburgh. That's just the kind of fella I am.
You're super swell.
I'm super and I'm thwell,
super swell.
flooper thwell,
Super swole.
like super salad. You ever go to the restaurant, you're super wasted, and the waitress says, "Do you want the super salad?" You're like, "What's
That sounds great.
What's the super salad?"
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds super, that salad. I'll have it.
Oh, crap. We are a little light tonight, so what we're going to do
Yes.
is I'm going to go back to this. He said we can play it. RSB. He said, go ahead and play the song. So this is the Robinson Simpson Band. We talked about them earlier. TheRSB.net is the website. So we're going to go ahead and...
Ever meet a girlie that you thought was nice? It's so good you wanna taste it twice. Now you know just what I wanna do. Tell
Is that what he said? Do I want to taste her twice?
I don't know.
me, baby, that you want it too. I'm going down. Going down. Looking for that lover that you thought was right. Get you up and satisfied. All
going down.
Yeah.
RSB, the Robinson Simpson Band. Mm-hmm. So you can go to thersb.net and get all the information there. So, okay, you can put in your email address, and I'm sure they'll send you all kind of dirty pictures. Well, that's what I do.
Well, that's
true.
true.
When people give me their email address, I'm like, oh, you want me to send you dirty pictures? And I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we do. It's all about them dirty pictures.
Yeah.
There's got to be a band called Dirty Pictures.
I'm
That's
sure there is. I'm sure there is. If you're in that band, contact us.
So Poison said that they're going to tour.
Okay.
And they're not going to use any fake shit.
Oh.
They're gonna
Just
say,
play
they
live.
said we're going on tour, warts and all.
Okay then.
So we'll see how that works out.
Indeed.
I don't know, man.
Just play live. Play well.
Well, that was another
live
thing on that Punk Rock MBA about Rockism was like the shit that bands get for using stuff live, like using computers and stuff live, and the guy said something that this is like a confession of mine.
Yes.
He said this, and I was I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
He's like, I've always preferred the studio versions of everything.
Sure.
Not really want to hear the live version.
Right.
And so then if that's that, and if you think most hit songs are the studio versions.
Exactly.
There are some live versions.
Right.
We talked about that. Turn the Page by Bob Seger.
Sure.
The live version is much more successful than the studio version. Do You Feel Like We Do? There's a studio version of Do We Feel Like You Do?
I Want You to Want Me.
Yeah. But it seems like the live versions on those particular songs. However, that's not the case with most songs.
Right.
Most songs are famous for the studio version. And there's a reason for that. Because they can make it sound really, really, really good. They can take the time and tweak every little thing about it. And that's what we like. I mean, I don't mean you and me, I don't mean me and Mr. Pittsburgh personally, but
in general,
that's what people like. They enjoy that. They wouldn't if all people wanted to hear was the live version, then the number one selling albums of all time would all be live albums.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So live is okay, but the main thing that we're all primarily hooked on these songs is the studio versions. So you can't really blame bands for that. And I want to point something else out.
Yes.
Okay? That and this band is my favorite band in the entire world. But these guys used all kind of supporting technology to play live. And that was Rush.
Yeah. We never cared.
Yeah, they used all kinds of stuff. They used MIDI tracks. They used recorded tracks. They used everything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They were slamming musicians, and everybody knew it. They didn't have to prove anything. You know what I mean? But you could make the argument too. Well, when you can play like Rush,
you're right.
Nobody's really going to give you any shit about stuff like that. And I don't think that Geddy ever did anything like pantomimed his vocals or anything like that. I don't think he did shit like that.
Yeah.
But they did, in order to make it sound as much like the recordings,
emulators.
They did all kinds of stuff. I mean, one of the things I always said that I thought Rush would have been fun for them to do, would be to go out and do like limited dates in small venues where they just played without any of the sequencing. You know what I mean? Just Geddy on bass and keyboards, Alex on guitar, Neil on drums, and just played their songs.
Yeah.
What would they sound like? I think it would sound great.
Sort
I
of
think
stripped down version.
Yeah, it was a more stripped down version.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been,
really,
cool. Really fun for them to do. But that's not what they did. So in other words, they were a band that used a lot of stuff like that too, and nobody seems to like. No, Eddie Trunk doesn't say anything about Rush,
right?
But he does give "Falling in Reverse" like a lot of shit. And I get it. I mean, I'm of that generation too. But like I said, I think we gotta let young people make music the way they make music,
thing, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think that it's Did older musicians from the 70s give shit to the younger musicians in the 80s? I don't really remember that.
I don't think
And what
so.
about the musicians in the 80s? I'm right. A lot of musicians in the 80s felt
There's a lot of
ousted,
hate. Yeah.
ousted by the grunge bands and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't remember them necessarily knocking their music. I do remember reading an interview with Dweezil Zappa during the grunge thing, saying, well, he liked the music, but he thought the guitar solos were terrible.
Yeah.
That was his thing. But like, it's Dweezil Zappa.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's into crazy guitar work. So I just think that it's distasteful, quite frankly. And I think that like we're not setting a good example to younger musicians when we just give them all kind of crap about their music. They got to make their music the way they got to make their music. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what we do. That's fine. We don't all have to do it the same way.
No, sir.
You know what I mean? Like, if your band gets up there with, and you use some stuff on laptops for some support of what you're doing, whatever, fine. Do and people get off on it and it sounds good, okay. If it makes me feel something, then it does. I mean, I don't know what to say about it.
Yep.
What about you, Mr. Pittsburgh?
I totally agree. Yeah. I don't know if it's our generation, but I don't know. I have to catch myself sometimes. I'm like, that's not good, right? And then I'm like, no. Open your mind.
I mean,
and then you take a
don't
step
have
back.
to like it.
Yeah,
you don't have to
but you
listen
can
to
say,
it.
you know what, that's good, though.
That's their thing. That's how these kids are
Yeah.
doing it. They're
These
morons.
kids today-
No, I'm just kidding.
Not morons.
No, seriously, no. Like they've got to make, because what if like people like Les Paul or that type of era said,
Right.
well, this idea of playing through like loud Marshall stacks,
That's
is just stupid. Like you're just cheating. You're not really even playing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview with Chet Atkins, where he did an album in the 80s, and he had a lot of guest artists on it. One of them was Mark Knopfler. One of them was Steve Lukather.
Oh, wow.
They're friends.
Yeah.
And Steve was like, well, what do you want me to do? And play? He goes, no, man, I want you to play. He said Steve showed up with like a trailer full of like stacks. We mic'd up. He says he shook the studio. I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Like so they, those guys were like, that's not what I do.
But I can appreciate that.
I totally, can get into what the cat's doing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we don't have to be douchebags. So try to be a little less of a douchebag this week.
Please. We beg you.
Meg L. Saint Laurent says music evolves and each generation puts their mark on it.
Exactly,
I agree.
Meg.
Well said,
Exactly,
Meg. Well said. Thank you very much. On that happy note, you've been listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com to get all your Loudini needs met. And we know that they are far and wide and deep. And we specialize in deep needs, don't we, Mr. Pittsburgh?
Oh, that's one thing we specialize in.
LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Don't forget to check out music from the 412 as well as rockrageradio.com and download their app if there's an app. If not, you can just go right to the website and stream to your little heart's content. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Hopefully Lily will be back next week. We want to do a show on the top female bands from the 1980s. So
nice. Okay.
All right, Mr. Pittsburgh, anything you'd like to add before we go?
No.
All right. No, screw that.
I've already said enough. Get me in trouble.
All right, guys, have a wonderful week. We'll catch everybody on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
See ya.